We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. It's 3 a.m. The world is silent, but your brain is throwing the loudest, most chaotic party imaginable. You're wide awake, replaying a slightly awkward comment you made at work 3 years ago. You're stress testing a conversation that hasn't happened yet, running through 1,000 possible scenarios, 999 of which end in complete disaster. You feel like you're a professional problem simulator, and the only problem you're actually creating is your own exhaustion. Sound familiar? This, my friend, is overthinking. It's because we're suffering from a powerful illusion. We mistake motion for progress. And here's the secret. No one ever tells you about it. Your brain is tricking you. He's sweating, he's breathing hard, and if you asked him, he'd probably say, "Man, I'm putting in the miles today." It feels like it's making progress towards a solution. In Alex's mind, they're being strategic. They're analyzing every angle. What if my boss says no? What if they laugh? What if they say yes and I can't handle the new role? Maybe I should wait until after the next big project is done. Or maybe I should update my resume first, ... This is the illusion. You're not on a path to a destination. You're just on a hamster wheel of anxiety. In reality, Alex is just running on the hamster wheel of fear. The thinking isn't leading to a plan. It's just a way to delay the scary, vulnerable act of actually doing something, really making progress. But we, standing outside the cage, can see the truth. He's not going anywhere. He's just burning energy in a perfect, stationary loop. It's making you feel like you're being productive, like you're working hard to figure things out. But what you're actually doing is binge-watching the worst TV show ever, on repeat, with you as the star. What if I told you there's a way to grab the remote control? A single, brutally simple question that cuts through all that mental noise, stops the reruns, and frees up all that wasted energy. This isn't a complex meditative practice. It's a mental tool, a switch you can flip to go from analysis paralysis to calm, focused action. And once you learn it, you can't unlearn it. Lesson 1. The overthinker's illusion. So, why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we get stuck on these thought loops that go nowhere? I want you to picture a hamster on a wheel. He's running his little heart out. That hamster is your brain when it's overthinking. When you're replaying an argument, worrying about a future event, or endlessly weighing the pros and cons of a minor decision, your brain feels like it's working hard. Let's meet Alex. Alex wants to ask for a promotion, but they've been thinking about it for 6 months. Alex feels like they're preparing for battle. Lesson 2. The question that changes the channel. All right. So if our brain is secretly binge-watching a terrible drama series starring us, how do we turn it off? You do it by asking one brutally simple question when you catch yourself in a thought loop. The question is this useful, or is this just entertainment? Let that sink in for a second. Is this thought useful, or is it just entertainment? What does useful mean? A useful thought leads directly to a productive action or a clear decision. What if my boss thinks I'm not ready is not useful? It doesn't lead to an action, right? It's the opening scene of a dramatic movie, right? It's designed to keep you watching, to see what happens next in the spiral of your own imagination. Your brain finds this drama incredibly interesting, but it's not useful. It's self-sabotage disguised as a blockbuster film. It's a thought that moves you forward, off the hamster wheel. For example, what is the first small step I can take to prepare for that conversation? It forces you to categorize your own thinking. It's the remote control. Alex asks, "Okay, then what would a useful thought look like right now?" You point it at your brain and ask, "Are we watching something that will improve my life? Or are we just watching cheap reality TV again?" This leads to the action of opening a document and listing out successful projects. That's useful. It leads to the action of opening a notebook and brainstorming. This leads to the action of preparing calm, data-driven answers to those objections. Okay, what is my plan if they say no? It acted as a pivot, a turning point that transformed Alex from a passive, fearful viewer into an active, empowered strategist. It took Alex off the hamster wheel and put them on a path. This leads to the action of thinking about how to get feedback and what skills to develop next. What is entertainment? It's any thought that just leads to another thought, especially one that creates drama and emotion. This question is brutal because it's so honest. It doesn't let you hide. It would be so embarrassing. Lesson 3. Putting the question into action. Let's go back to our friend Alex, who is still spinning on the hamster wheel about that promotion. Suddenly, Alex learns this question. The familiar thought pops up. What if I ask for the promotion and my boss looks at me with that disappointed expression? Old Alex would have spent the next hour exploring every possible shade of that disappointment. But new Alex stops and asks the question, hold on, is this thought imagining my boss's face in vivid, cinematic detail useful, or is it just entertainment? It's clearly entertainment. It's a horror movie, but it's entertainment nonetheless. It leads nowhere productive. So, Alex takes the next crucial step. A useful thought would be, what objective evidence do I have that I deserve this promotion? Another useful thought, what are the most common objections my boss might have? Another useful thought, what is the absolute worst thing that could realistically happen? The boss could say no. Do you see the magic here? The question didn't just stop the overthinking. All right, team, let's be real. We all have a favorite show our brain likes to play on repeat when we trying to sleep. So, let's make this official. In the comments below, I want you to give me the title of your brain's most watched, useless Netflix series. Seriously, mine is probably a limited series called That One Awkward High Five Attempt in 2011. Why? Because at 3 a.m., Preston, the calm CEO part of your brain, has clocked out for the night. Amy, the panicked intern, is running the whole office, chugging espresso and hitting every single panic button she can find. What's yours? Let's see who's got the best title. Don't toss and turn and tell yourself, I need to stop thinking about this. You turn on a small, dim light, pick up your notepad, and you write down the thought that's looping in your head. Then, you perform the drill on paper. For example, action, email Sue at 9 a.m. By writing it down, you've outsourced the worry from your brain to the paper. You've given your brain permission to let it go, because the thought catcher has it now. If this brutal question just gave you a tool to escape a future 3 a.m. brain spiral, maybe consider joining the Tranquil Dude crew by hitting that subscribe button. If there's a topic, a problem, or a mental loop that your brain loves to overthink, drop it in the comments. Maybe we can build a script around it and figure it out together. Your call, my friend. We're all about swapping that useless mental drama for calm, focused action. The next time you catch yourself spinning, the next time you feel that familiar paralysis of overthinking, I want you to stop and ask the question. Be brutally honest with yourself. And if the thought isn't useful, just gently change the channel. That's like telling yourself not to think of a pink elephant. You need a physical tool. I call this the thought catcher technique. It's about becoming the discerning curator of your own attention. Stop letting it be a cinema for cheap horror films. Turn it back into a workshop. Now go build something amazing. About realizing that your mind can be one of two things: a movie theater that plays endless reruns of anxiety-inducing dramas, or a workshop where you actively build the life you want. It's way better to laugh at this stuff than to let it run our lives. It's what allows you to step off the hamster wheel of worry and onto the path of action. Lesson 4. The 3 a.m. edition. Overthinking loves to party when you're trying to sleep. So how do you use the question when your rational mind is half asleep? You can't just do it in your head. You keep a small notepad and a pen by your bed. When your brain wakes you up with its disaster movie marathon, don't fight it. Instead, you calmly accept it. You ask, is this useful or just entertainment? If the thought is actually about a legitimate problem you need to solve, you write down one simple, useful action to take in the morning. You write it down, and next to it, you literally write, "This is entertainment." Acknowledging it on paper as a piece of useless fiction strips it of its power. You then close the notepad and tell your brain it's been caught. We're done here. This physical act is incredibly effective at short-circuiting the 3 a.m. loop. So, what do you think? And I really want to know what's on your mind. So that's the hack. It's not about achieving a perfectly empty mind. It's not about stopping your thoughts. The question, is this useful? Or is this just entertainment? Is the tool that lets you step out of the audience and into the role of the director. So here is your mission. Your mind is the most powerful and creative tool you will ever own.